Okay, Julian, just reflecting on your presentation last night, what would you say were the two main highlights coming out of that you would try and convey to other practitioners?
Well, you get as much out of it as you put into it. I mean, taking students out into the field, well, they gain a great deal at that time, but later on, the feedback that you get from the students, not just about the actual content of what they were doing in the field, but other skills, the social skills and so on that they get out of it. It's just fantastic when they come back years later and say that was one of the highlights of their lives, really. Things like that, that's the satisfaction it gives to me.
Yeah, that came across really powerfully in your presentation. What about any particular, recommendations maybe to young people that are setting out in a career in, teaching and learning, where fieldwork makes a key element of what they do?
God, it's a bit early in the morning for that, really. But I'm a firm believer that it's the outdoors that trying to do biological experiments in a lab is so false. It's almost like doing virtual reality on the computer and so on. That the only way of actually teaching anything is to do it outside, is to try and see how you can do it naturally in the natural environment rather than in a lab. Always, anything. I reckon you can do genetics better outside than in any classroom.
Yeah, no, that was also comes across very strongly in that presentation. And during your career, what about kind of hurdles you think you faced? Because your philosophy is quite an interesting one, and one imagines you've come across some barriers.
I think the main one is the administrators at the top. Not necessarily health and safety, I think those are very easy to get round ultimately. But it's those things like old timings and, should you be doing this outside? It doesn't seem like that when you read all the specs and things like that. But I would actually say you just have to go with a good case, always. Don't make sure you've got a very clear case to the administrators at the top of why you need to go out and do that. And obviously if you can get the funding, sometimes that is the thing that always sways the administrators.
No, thank you, that's brilliant. I think I shouldn't keep you from your breakfast any longer.
Thank you
really
very much.
Appreciate your comments.
No problem.
Thank you.
Well, there's a lot to think about there.
No, brilliant.